Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay, I've got some important things to talk to you guys about today. So I'm excited about this one. I hope you guys will have a chance to go back and watch it if you're not able to jump on today, because I think there's some important topics that I want to discuss after talking to you guys this week. So the first one I want to talk about today is overwhelm. So I just wrote up a little blog about this because I think this is so important. And I called overwhelm the goal killer. Because first of all, if you're feeling overwhelmed, that is really, really normal. Let me just tell you that. Probably everybody's feeling it to some degree, especially this time of year. It's a crazy time of year. So overwhelm is really normal. But here's something that I have learned recently that has been really, really powerful and really helpful for me. So when I started my coaching program a few months ago, the main reason I did it is I was in a total state of overwhelm. Mine was more around my business, but it was bleeding over into other areas of my life. It was bleeding over into my own personal health and relationships and everything else. So I was in this constant state of overwhelm. And I think most of us, we feel like overwhelm is happening to us, right? Like the circumstances are causing us to feel overwhelmed. And if the circumstances would just change, then we wouldn't feel overwhelmed, right? So we're kind of constantly trying to maybe, hope that the overwhelm will go away or that the circumstances will change. But it doesn't ever seem to really work, right? And that's kind of where I was. So one of the very first things that I learned that for me was incredibly powerful was that overwhelm was optional. And this kind of blew my mind because honestly, I did not feel that way at all. It was like things are just happening to me and I'm constantly in this state of overwhelm. But once I realized that, it was like it kind of shifted everything for me. Like literally, it was just one of those things like, whoa, this is so powerful because once you realize overwhelm is optional, then you can realize how to change it. Because think about this, okay? First of all, again, overwhelm is very normal when we're making big changes. Hey, Donna! Yay! Overwhelm is really normal when we are trying to make changes in our life, okay? You think about trying to lose weight. You are changing up a lot of stuff. You're changing up how you are eating. You're maybe changing up exercise. You're changing up habits. So that can create overwhelm, especially when you're piling it on to everything else going on in your life. But when you think about if you're feeling overwhelmed, what actions do you take? And if you think about it, you don't take any action, right? Overwhelm leaves us paralyzed. Overwhelm leaves us stuck. When I would feel overwhelmed, I would be overwhelmed about my business and I would be thinking of all the things I should do for my business. And I would go vacuum because I was I don't know what else to do. I'll just vacuum. I'm doing something, or I'd get on Facebook. So it was I wasn't actually doing anything to help move myself forward because I just felt stuck. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like all this stuff was coming at me. So overwhelm does not serve us in any way. And that's really the important way to look at it. So if we understand that, then we can start to change it. And the best way that we can start to change that is by examining what we're thinking. And so this isn't about suggesting that there isn't legit hard things and stressful things going on. So I'm not saying that we just want to be fake and it's all fine. Everything's good, right? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that we can help ourselves move towards the goal. So with weight loss, we want to be taking action pretty much every day, right? We want to be doing these things. That's the only way we're going to get to their goal. If we stop taking action, we will for sure fail. For sure, it's guaranteed, right? If I stop taking action towards my goal, I will for sure not reach my goal. So the only way I have a chance at losing weight or growing my business or doing anything else, the only way I have a chance at that is to constantly be taking action towards it, right? Stop taking action, for sure going to fail. Only chance I have is to continue taking action. So if I want to continue taking action, how do I want to feel in order to take action? Well, most of us, we want to feel excited. We want to feel motivated. We want to feel confident, right? So how do we get those feelings in order to move forward? It all starts in how we think. So again, a lot of us are going to want to look at what we're thinking that's causing us to feel that overwhelm from a very compassionate place, right? So again, most of us are feeling like it's coming from this external thing. And if the external would change, then we would be able to change. I was writing in the blog, I was like, like I know as a mom, it's like, okay, it's going to be so much better this summer. And then you get in the summer, you're like, it's going to be so much better when the kids go back to school, right? It's like, you're constantly like, if that would change. But the problem with that is it puts the power into something external. And like I said, I don't know about you guys, but the external never seems to quite be perfect. I never have quite the right amount of like time and money and like everything lined up perfectly. So when we can start to take the power back by looking at how we're thinking, that can change how we're feeling, which can create the action that we want. So I will share with you guys the blog, but I put some examples in there. So, okay, let me give you an example. When you're feeling overwhelmed, some of the things that I'm thinking is like, I can't get all this done. There's not enough time. There's too much. I'm behind. And all of those things make me feel like I'm just going to go vacuum because I don't know what else to do, right? I guess my house is a lot cleaner when I'm in a state of overwhelm. Let's put it that way. But when I'm thinking thoughts that are like, for me, this has been a really powerful thought is I don't get overwhelmed. I'm like, I just make myself think that like, I don't get overwhelmed. I got this. I can do this. I can do hard things. It's fine. It all get done. It's going to be okay. What can I do? And you just start thinking about, what is a little bit of action I can take right now? The minute you start to take action, the overwhelm will decrease. Action will always counter trump overwhelm. Okay. Even if it's just something very small, we are only in overwhelm when we aren't taking any action. So if you can get yourself to just do something, anything, then, you'll start to see that overwhelm decrease. So don't put this like pressure of being perfect or having it all figured out or having to watch every single video. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Just take any action. And that's the other thing I want to say about this program, you guys, is so important. I don't want you guys to see this program as something that you can get behind in. You cannot. You once you know the basics of how to manage your hunger and manage your desire, you got it. Okay? Everything else is going to be bonus to help you stay motivated. All right. So I want you to think of it kind of like a phone. When your phone is low, you plug it in and you get some energy, right? You don't, get caught up in like, it has to be exactly, charged to this level or whatever, right? That's kind of how I want you to see yourself. You're like the phone. You're going out, you're taking action. Okay. And you are going to get drained sometimes. You're going to need a little bit of motivation. So when you need that, you just plug in. So don't get caught up in like, oh man, I'm behind. I need to watch this video and that video, because that's going to keep you from taking action. Just if you got 5 minutes, hop on, watch whatever looks fun and interesting to you. Let it kind of fill you up, get that energy back up, and then go take the action again. Okay. So for me, for example, I know that one of the things that helps me is podcasts. Really any podcast, it just gets my mind right. But when I go to look at my podcast, there's like a lot on there, and it would be easy to be like, I haven't listened to every single one of these podcasts that this lady put out. I'm behind, but instead I'm just like, let me randomly pick one that looks interesting. And even if it's just 5 minutes that I'm listening to it, it calms me down, it gets my mind right, and then I can go take action. Sometimes I can listen to podcasts for hours, right? When I'm vacuuming. Sometimes I can only listen to them for 5 minutes while I'm brushing my teeth or getting ready in the morning. It's fine. It's just something that fills me up. So please don't put pressure on yourself that you have to watch every single video and you have to do it all. Do what you can when you can, and just keep taking that action. That will alleviate the overwhelm. Overwhelm will never serve you. Overwhelm always leads to paralysis. So don't let yourself indulge in it. Okay. Just change those thoughts, take action, and do what you can. All right. So that's the first thing. Overwhelm. Again, I wrote up a little blog. Sweet Donna is going to edit it for me and proofread it for me, and then I'll get that out to you guys. Okay. Okay. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is framing your story. So this is super important. I've heard from several of you guys this week about losing weight, which is so amazing. But some of you guys have told me this in a sort of like negative way. Like, I've only lost X number of pounds. Okay. And I want you guys to stop doing that, all right? This is so important. I want you guys to be excited about whatever it is that you've got going on, whatever amount of weight loss. Now, there's been different amounts this week, but I would say the average at this point is about 2 pounds, okay? You guys, that is amazing, all right? It takes a lot to lose weight. It does, okay? And I'm not saying that to discourage you, because I think it's totally possible. I think every single person in this program can lose as much weight as they want to lose, right? But I also don't want you to discredit that it's hard. It takes 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound of fat. And I know we're not worried about calories, but I just want you to realize that like losing a pound of fat is amazing. So when you guys step on that scale, I really want you to, again, catch how you're thinking about that, okay? Because it's just as true to think, I only lost 2 pounds. I've been working so hard. This is so hard. I'm never going to be able to do this. This isn't going to work for me. As it is to think, oh my gosh, I lost 2 pounds. Yeah, I'm a rock star, okay? Both of those are true. Which one of those ways of approaching it is going to make you feel excited, right? The first way is going to make you feel discouraged and probably just want to like go eat ice cream and binge, watch Netflix or something, right? When you're like, I am amazing. I lost 2 pounds. Yes, me, right? You're like gonna want to keep taking the right action, okay? So it's all in how you frame the story, you guys. Both are true. Pick the one that's going to serve you best. I want you guys to become your own biggest fans. Seriously. I'm over here like at my desk, like cheering every time I get an email that somebody's lost a pound. I'm like, that's amazing. Are you kidding me? So you guys need to do that for yourself. You need to get in the habit of getting your own back and being your own biggest fan and being excited for yourself. Like, you deserve this. It's not going to be super easy. We're not trying to lose, 20 pounds in a week, okay? Because that doesn't last. That doesn't work. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to stick. It's going to last. The skills you guys are learning are going to make this work long term. So I want you guys to be excited for yourself. I want you to frame your story. It's always good. It's always positive, because that's what's going to help you, okay? Don't be scared that if you don't beat yourself up, you're going to lose your motivation. It's the opposite, okay? Think about how you would talk to a kid. If my child comes home and she's got, 9 out of 10 on her spelling test, I'm not like, you got one wrong, right? I'm like, you got 9 out of 10. What? Okay, now we might analyze why we got the one wrong. Like, what happened? Let's look at that objectively, but we're not going to focus on that, right? So same thing for you guys. Focus on what you're doing good, what you're doing right, what's working, and keep working. There's actually a book that talks about this, that talks about finding the bright spots. And I love it, because our brain is trained to look for the negative, right? Because it's like trying to like solve the problems. And if we're not careful, we'll only focus on the negative, and we'll miss out on all the amazing things that are happening and all the amazing things that we're doing and all the progress we're making. So switch your brain into finding those bright spots. What's going right? What's working? What are you rocking out? I know you guys are, because you're telling me. Like, I'm so insanely proud of you. I want you guys to be proud of yourself. Okay, last thing. This is one that kind of goes with the planning piece that we've been talking about this week. So I want to re-emphasize that planning is your current present self taking care of your future self. All right. This is how I want you to think about it. And what happens then is that you can relax a little bit, and you know that your current self, that prefrontal cortex, was able to kind of look into the future and figure out what you're going to need from a very loving, compassionate place, right? So I'm not going to be like, my future self is going to need to eat 3 pints of ice cream, right? But I'm also going to try to create a plan that's compassionate. So this is the key. So let me talk about this. I want to talk about this concept of, thanks, Rosie. Says she feels so much better physically. Yes, see? Good. Focusing on the bright spots. I want to talk about this concept of living in integrity with yourself, right? So if you, if you have a date with a friend, or, somebody that you care about, your mom or something, you're going to meet for lunch or whatever, right? You would show up, right? You would be there. You'd probably be there on time. Like, you would respect them. You would, because you're building a relationship. If you have a friend that, is like always canceling last minute, always has an excuse, is always showing up late, it damages the relationship. Even if they're not trying to do it or they're not meaning anything by it, it starts to affect the relationship. But we do that to ourselves all the time, right? Like we set these things for ourselves and then we just don't follow through. And we're damaging the relationship with ourselves. We're damaging the trust that we have for ourselves. So part of that, building that integrity with yourself is, the bugs are back, Donna. Can y'all hear those bugs? They're so loud. We were talking last night and they were so loud. But sorry, part of that, building that integrity with yourself is following through and showing up for yourself, right? And building that trust with yourself. So that is super important. It's a skill we want to look at, and we want to look at how we, treat other people. We want to treat ourselves with the same respect, maybe even more. Okay. So that's the first part of it. Okay. So we want to follow through and we want to take ourselves serious, but here's the other piece of it that I think is really interesting and important. At the same time, we want to make sure that we are being compassionate with ourselves, right? So when you're looking at like your 24-hour plan that's in the planning for this week, right? We're looking at, and I love the 24-hour plan because you're not having to plan out like next Wednesday, right? Because I don't know next Wednesday. You're just looking at like the next 24 hours. Okay, what's going on? What am I going to be doing? Where am I going to be going? And how can I fit food in there? And then the integrity pieces that we're following through. But the other part of it is I want you to be super compassionate with yourself. We also sometimes are kind of hard on our future self, right? Like we're like, Monday, I'm going to start that diet. I'm going to be perfect, right? And like we're the same person on Monday. So understand that the integrity piece is following through, but also planning compassionately for yourself, right? Being realistic about it. Not expecting so much from your future self, because at the same time, if you have a friend that's like constantly, I don't know, like pushing you to do stuff all the time, or like wanting to constantly do things that, I don't know, just stress you out, so you're not going to want to hang out with that person. So same thing with you, okay? So make sure that you are looking ahead and being realistic and being compassionate. If you know you're going to go to a party and there's going to be a ton of food, really think through, how do you want to be in that moment? Like, what's a realistic thing, right? We don't want to just binge eat, but we also want to make sure that we are, being compassionate with ourselves. So those are the two pieces to living in integrity with yourself. And I just think it's a really kind of cool way to look at it, because again, we do this for others and sometimes we don't do it for ourselves. So that's something that you can kind of work on. But again, with that planning piece, guys, think of it not as like this super strict, like, oh, I got to plan everything out, follow it, it's going to be so boring. Just think of it as a way that your current self is taking care of your future self, so that when you get there, it's so much easier, and you know you've got your own back, and you know that you plan this out using that prefrontal cortex and not coming from this place of just reacting and all that kind of stuff. So that is pretty much it for today, but I think that that's some like important stuff for you guys. So yeah, definitely let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, I'm going to share with you guys a little bit more on the overwhelm stuff. But again, quick recap. Don't indulge in overwhelm. You got this, okay? Frame your story, make it positive, and be your own biggest fan. And work on that integrity with yourself, okay? Following through and having compassion and creating a compassionate planning schedule for yourself. So you guys are amazing. Like seriously, you guys, oh my gosh, you make me so happy. The emails, the progress you guys are making, the way you guys are just diving into this and doing it, like it like makes my heart so happy. So you guys are amazing. Have a wonderful weekend. Next week is hormones. So I'm still working on some stuff for that. I've got a few things in the portal, but I will be opening that up for you guys soon, and we'll be kind of dripping that out throughout next week. But have an amazing weekend. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.